Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Friday, the 20th of October 2023. In today's Millwall news, this morning it was a flutter. Exclusive from Football Insider 247.com. Neil Warnock at the Den. It couldn't happen, could it? It couldn't happen. Apparently, sources, Millwall approached Neil Warnock to be new manager. So let's have a read of this before I tell you it's seemingly complete bullshit. Neil Warnock has been approached by Millwall to become their new manager. Sources have told Football Insider. Warnock is a top contender to take over from Gary Rowett after he was sacked by the club on Wednesday the 18th. Oh, they said he was sacked as well. Oh, sorry, Gary. Take over from Gary Rowett after he was mutually decided to depart by the club and has been approached by the London club about his interest in the vacancy. Millwall want a manager with a proven track record of promotion and who knows this division. Warnock certainly fits the bill on both counts and holds a record for the most promotions in English football with 8. That's not a lot. How long has he been a manager? Like 30 years. Rowett was appointed as a manager back in 2019 and helped the club to top half finishes in each championship campaign, and they also regularly challenged for the playoff spots. Warnock left Huddersfield last month after just over 7 months with the club in the latest post of what has been a remarkable career. Yeah, he kept them up last season and stayed on, but they wanted to move on. After leaving Huddersfield, the 74-year-old insisted he has a desire to continue in management and has recently reiterated that he has no plans to retire. Warnock took charge of 15 matches as a Huddersfield boss last term, winning 7, drawing 4 and losing 4, and the Yorkshire club finished 18th in the second division. This term, the Englishman was in charge of 8 matches and won 2, drew 2 and lost 4. In a managerial career spanning 5 decades, Warnock has managed 16 different clubs, from the Premier League to non-league. 5 decades, he's been a manager for 50 years. I doubt that. He's 74, so he would have started when he was 24, unless they're including coaching jobs. The Sheffield-born boss has extensive Championship experience and has taken charge of Sheffield United, QPR, Crystal Palace, Leeds United, Rotherham, Cardiff City and Middlesbrough, and most recently Huddersfield. Mill sit 15th in his Championship table with 15 points from their opening 11 games. So there you go. Sources told that Mill have made a move for Neil Warnock. And very quickly, here we go. Rich Cawley of the South London Press. Millwall have not made approaches to any manager at the moment, and he responds to another someone else. He says it there, and he does another tweet saying they haven't made any approaches to any manager, so the Warnock stuff isn't true. That's a fact. So there you go. That seems to be a fact. Because I think when Richard Cawley says it, you've got to believe it to be true, because Millwall have told him that, and they've probably told him that he can put that out. Is this off the record? No, please put this very much on the record. Now, in terms of getting someone in who won't fuck it up and we won't get relegated, you would think that's going to be Neil Warnock. We certainly probably won't get relegated, but yeah, when I heard the news, I didn't see the tweets from Richard Cawley. I just heard the news about Neil Warnock and then carried on with my day. And I'm like, yeah, that'll be alright, wouldn't it? I mean, he's a bit of a bastard, but if he's on your side, he's your bastard. So, but apparently it's not true. So you can forget about that. So who is going to be the new manager? Do we know? Well, here's the latest odds from bettingodds.com. Still Kevin Muscat 3-1, John Eustace 7-2, Michael Bill 4-1, and that news of Neil Warnock has moved him into 4-1. So I don't know who was the source. Was it Mr. William Hill? Was it Mr. Betfred? I don't know, but someone thinks they're a bit smart by I know about this secret page called Football Insider who are telling me that Neil Warnock's going to be the new Millwall manager. I'll quickly run off to the betting companies and put a bet on Neil Warnock to be the new manager, because I've just seen this on Football Insider and I bet no one else has. When in reality, thousands of people have. It's been tweeted and it's been shared, and it's like, oh, and what that's done is driven the price down. So there you go. It's pretty much same old, same old. It does look like Kevin Muscat is the one. He is the man. Is he the man now, or is he the man in January? Do we have to wait, or do we get him now? Don't know. One thing to note, it was mentioned by Neil Fissler on the Act on Millwall podcast that I listened to earlier. I think one of the betting companies, I'm not sure if this is standard industry standard or it's just that company. I think it was Sky Bet, he said. They had a little thing underneath saying that if the caretaker manager manages for 10 games, that will be considered as being a new manager. That's enough of a length of time, and that they will pay out on that. So Adam Barrett, betting on him, because if Kevin Muscat is coming in, but we're not going to buy him out of his contract, which runs until January, because the J League runs until the middle of December. If Adam Barrett's in charge until then, he will be paid out, because he will be considered to be the new manager, having managed for 10 games. Because obviously he's got 3 games this week. If that's the case, if that happens, they might get. I don't know if they might put someone else in charge for a 10 game or until January. I don't know. Maybe that's what the Neil Warnock thing was like. Do you want to do this job until December? But then we hear, oh no, that's all bullshit. So here we go. So we've got obviously the 3 games this week, and then we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 will take us up till the middle of December. So that would mean that the betting company will pay out on the caretaker, if that's Aaron Barrett, as being unofficially the next manager, because he's managed like 10 games, which is about a quarter of the season. So there you go. So be wary if you are betting that. I don't generally bet on that kind of stuff. I mean, it's very much driven by what you've seen here. These nonsense articles that get put out. You see Neil Warnock's price was like 16 to 1 and it's come into 4 to 1. And we'll probably get another story next week, like Paul Ince has been linked with the club, or Paul Ince has been seen outside the den. Someone might Photoshop it or do like an AI image. Like we are, yeah. So subterfuge everywhere. Or obviously the game tomorrow is on Sky. They'll pan over to the crowd. Who's in the crowd? Oh, who is it? Steve Cotterill. Oh, is he going to Mill? Is he going to be the new Millwall? Is he there to meet Steve Kavanagh and have a meeting? Oh, you'll get all that shit as well. So be wary of that. I think we've just got to wait till it comes out, and then moan about it when it does. And then people who moan if the guy wins his first game, they'll just have to shut up until he loses a game, and we go on as we go on with this bizarre thing where people have preconceived notions and then they have different factions. It happened under Harris and Barrett as well. They just hide away on the forums, and then when that manager loses a game, they pop up and complain. But if he wins the game, they're nowhere to be seen. They shut the fuck up. It's all very funny, isn't it? It's all very funny. Moving on to this from the londonnewsonline.co.uk, the South London Press's online website. Undultre, free, exactly. You can tell he's Dutch, yeah? He does it like that. He does it like that. I do it like that, like a Boy Scout. 1, 2, 3. He does it like that, like the film Inglourious Bastards. He does it like that. Zian Flemming on drop in shooting stats. Mill knocking back summer bids from Burnley, and why Preston match ball isn't on display at home. Oh, he's hat-trick ball. Okay. So they've done an interview with Zian Flemming, which I said, obviously these Friday interviews, they seem to be a bit of a poison chalice, because whoever does these interviews on the Friday, usually with the South London Press, because they're published on the Friday, they have an absolute stinker the next day. Bit of a curse, so let's hope this doesn't happen tomorrow. The last time that Zian Flemming played at Preston North End, he left with a hat-trick, but the match ball from his only career league treble is not on show at home, with a pumpkin taking preference. Halloween is still a little way off, but the Lions number 10 will look to put the Frighteners on Ryan Lowe's high-flying side tomorrow in a lunchtime kick-off and add to his goal haul for the current campaign. Flemming had to persuade an over-officious steward to hand over the match ball at Deepdale last season after a mischievous moment from teammate George Saville. Saville was being funny, so he took the ball away from me and he kicked it towards our fans, Flemming told the South London Press. It was to make sure I had to go and pick it up right in front of them so I'd be the centre of attention, which is always a little bit awkward. The steward grabbed the ball and didn't want to give it to me. He probably didn't realise what had happened in the 90 minutes before that. Yeah, because they don't watch the game, do they? They watch the fans. The ball is in a closet at home. Home is just home, and my missus is more busy with the interior side than me. It's not a museum. I don't have any of the trophies I've won out either. I think my missus has just put them away. We did have the ones out from Millwall's award ceremony in May for my goal of the season, and also the player of the season. I think she should replace them now for some Halloween stuff. Flemming has scored twice for the Lions in the last 5 matches at the same stage of the 22-23 campaign. He was already on 5. I want to score more, so I'm not happy yet with the amount of goals I have, said the former Fortuna Sittard attacker. But at the same time, last season when I had 5, I wanted more, so that never really stops being the case. I think I can score more, and that I will score more, but it's not that I am too worried about it. It's always a process, and about helping the team. If you see how we play, then I can see an improvement in our gameplay, and that is when the players can excel individually or make the difference with the goals and assists. I'm confident that it's going to be more and more soon. Flemming was the Championship's 7th highest scorer last season with 15, 2 goals behind fellow Lion Tom Bradshaw. The ex-Ajax youngster had a shoot-on-sight policy of 124 attempts, only exceeded by Joel Perreault and Victor Gyökeres, but he's 61st in the division for strikes at goal this time around. So he was 3rd for shots in the whole of the league last season, 3rd. Which probably explains why he hasn't scored that many goals, because if you don't shoot, you don't score. Ça va? Comprende? Oh yeah, I do, said Flemming when asked if he felt like he had fewer shots. I don't know that there is a particular reason for it, at least I'm not that I'm aware of. I know especially at the beginning of last season, I got into shooting positions a lot, and now it seems to be harder to get in those positions. Whether or not that is our play or maybe the opposition keeping a better eye on me, I don't really know. I always tried to get in scoring positions as much as possible. Last season I had loads of shots, but it wasn't like a lot of them were massive chances. I don't know the XG, but the expected goals was probably not incredibly high because it was sometimes from long range or outside the box. The stats are the stats, they don't lie, but I don't know what has really caused it. Flemming was subject to multiple bids from Burnley in the summer that eventually topped £10 million, but Millwall rejected their overtures, with the Premier League newcomers moving on to other targets. Well, it's every player's dream, especially for playing England, to get to the Premier League, said Flemming. Plan A was, and it still is, to get there with Millwall. Unfortunately, we didn't succeed to do that last season, and then during the transfer window, you get the chance to do it on your own, which is Plan B. Not just my Plan B, but also the club's Plan B, because that's just how football works. But football also works as sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. You have just got to deal with it. It's part that can be difficult, but luckily I've experienced before, so that helped. I wouldn't say it was disappointing because it just goes how it goes. It would have been incredible to play in the Premier League, and I've been really proud to do so, but if the clubs can't agree a fee, then they can't agree a fee. It took a very long time, so it wasn't like I felt I was going there 1 second later. It didn't happen, but it was over the course of months that this was going on. I thought that it would happen, and then it seemed to be less likely. It gradually faded away. It wasn't like there was a big shock and then the disappointment. It was more like that it looked like it wasn't going to happen. So you have more time to get your head around it. We came back for pre-season, and then you're into our preparations and sessions. You invest your energy into improving this team as well. Flemming has £1 on top flight. Newcastle United defender Sven Botman. We know each other quite well. He lives very close to me, and he was in the Ajax Academy as well. We always shared the minivan from school to training, said Fleming. The 25-year-old scored in Mill's last match on the road, a 2-0 win at Plymouth. And he also set up Jules Saville for a 90th minute clincher, although his strong challenge on Kane Kessler-Hayden to win the ball on the edge of the box was described as a forearm smash by Argyle boss Stephen Schumacher. Fleming chuckles when the incident is brought up. If you look back at it, it's probably a foul, said the Millman. It's part of the game. Sometimes you get fouled and they don't get given. At the time I did it, it didn't feel like a foul. It just felt like I read the situation and blocked him off. It probably looked the same to the ref, but if you see it back, then it's a bit of a push. I put my arm on his chest. He fell down quite extremely, like it was a big impact, so it made it look worse than it was. Mill will have injuries to contend with for the North End clash. Ryan Leonard is latest to be ruled out with a cracked bone in his knee. Duncan Watmer, who assisted Fleming's goal at Plymouth, is sidelined with a hamstring problem. It means minutes for some of the Lions squad cannot be managed so effectively or easily. I wouldn't want to break anyway during the games, said Fleming. The international break is fine, forgetting that. It happens every season at every club. A point where people are injured. Hopefully they are not injured too badly and they will be back ASAP. Because the more bodies you have, the stronger you are as a squad. When someone gets injured, the squad is disappointed for the guy, but we also know that we need to crack on and pick it up. Keep doing our job and make sure it doesn't affect results. So there you go. Hopefully that is not a curse for him tomorrow, but good to read that and hear what he has to say about what's been going on. Didn't ask him about the manager situation, which I don't know if this was done before then. But there you go. Now moving on to this from do you want to buy a coat? Do you want to buy a coat? No? Okay. This is from millwallfc.co.uk. An evening with raises money for the Lions Food Hub. Millwall Community Trust, an evening with ... took place on Thursday night in aid of the Lions Food Hub. Byron Webster, Peter Sweeney and Tony Craig were on hand to provide the entertainment in Harry's Bar as funds were raised by way of bar sales, an auction, a raffle and more. In the first half, the trio sat down to talk over their past and present careers before questions from the floor came after the break. The auction followed where prizes such as signed shirts were won before a raffle finished off the night. Millwall Community Trust would like to thank all those who attended and raised money for such a worthy cause. Take a look at some of the images below. And believe it or not, that is Peter Sweeney. He looks like a guy who does those SAS programs, doesn't he? I don't know that guy's name, but that is Peter Sweeney there. So let's... Oh, he's wearing shorts. He's wearing shorts there. So there you go. This is in the new Harry's Bar, if you wonder where that is. It's not on a building site. Yeah, Mason Bennett. Mason Scaffolding, Mason Bennett. Skip through some of these. I think the Dorking Wanderers, Tony Craig there. Still playing by the way. Bromley's Byron Webster, still playing. Oh, that was it. Oh, we've gone around again. Oh, short but sweet. So there you go. Food Hub money raised. It was quite short notice though. I think they only announced it with like 3 weeks to go. And it was supposed to be David Ford initially, and then he pulled out and Pete Sweeney come in. But there you go. Now moving on to previewing the game tomorrow. Do you want to buy a ticket for Blackburn? Millwallfc.co.uk. Watch the Lions at Deep Down selected territories on Millwall TV. Obviously this game is on Sky. But if you're abroad, you can buy match passes on Millwall TV. You have to pay £10 per game. But because it is being shown on television, you will not be able to watch it in some countries because it's going to be shown on a TV channel in your country. So, going through the list, it's almost like, but if you have a VPN and you set your thing to this country, I wouldn't set it to China because you won't get anything in China because they block everything, don't they? But if you have it's almost like they're encouraging you to use a VPN and pay them £10, isn't it? It's kind of weird that. So here we go. If you're in the Cocos Islands, East Timor, Faroe Islands, Indonesia, Italy, Kiribati, Nauru, Nui, Papua New Guinea, St. Pierre and Miquelon. A pretty short list today, normally longer than that. If you're in any of these countries, you can pay £10 and watch the game. Now, moving on to this, livesoccertv.com. These are the channels around the world you can watch it. So if you're in the UK, Now TV, but with a Sky Sports Pass, Sky Sports Football, TalkSport 2 radio. So if you want to listen to the game, if you're driving around and you can't watch it for some reason, maybe you're blind and you don't want to pay for Sky Football because you're blind, you can't see it. Well, it's on TalkSport 2, so there you go. Tell, hey Siri, play TalkSport 2, and get that going. So here you go. These are the channels. If you are in any of these countries, these are the channels you need to get. I don't know if they're subscription channels or free to air or what it is, if it's a cable channel or what it is, but these are the channels around the world that you need. CableNet Sports 2 in Cyprus, ESPN Africa and Gambia, that should be the Gambia, Viaplay Iceland in Island, Bet365 apparently anywhere in the world except for the UK you can watch it. I guess you have to have a bet on that. The Zone in Japan if you are in Japan. So Kevin Muscat, if you're watching this, get on the Zone in Japan and you can watch the game. Madagascar, here you go. Mauritania, Niger, if you're Mercenary in Niger, Supersport, Go TV. There we go now. Arena Sport 1 in Serbia. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. Zimbabwe, there you go. So these are the TV channels that you can watch the game on live tomorrow morning. 12:30 UK time kickoff. We are still on British summertime, not GMT. Moving on to the historical record between Preston North End and Millwall from 11v11.com. It's head to head. I've sorted it by alphabetically, so it's Preston versus Millwall first, games first. Going up there in the 1920s, we won. We won the first time we went up there, 1928, 4-3 win. A couple of years later, 3-1 win. A couple of years later after that, a 1-0 win. So it was a game that we competed in, and we either won or we lost. We didn't draw until 1969, which was the start of a long slide, because 1969 all the way to 1997, in about, what is that, like probably about 10 games or so, we didn't have a win up there over 30 odd years. That's a long time to go somewhere without winning. The best we could do was 2-0 draw, so we didn't even get a score draw. It's 0-0 draws. Although, weirdly, in most of the games that we lost, we did score, except for in the 1970s. 4-0 defeat in 1971. So there you go. And then, kind of a standout fixture, 1998, we won 1-0. Then we go back to losing. We've got 3 losses in a row. And then, again, another standout, 2004, we win 2-1. And we had go on a run of 5 games without a win in the early 2000s. And then recently, 2020s, we have been, it's all been Millwall. We've been coming up roses. Preston North End, like us, struggling in this league, full of teams with parachute payments. And it looks like they're on our level now. The great former name of Preston North End, kind of on our level. And we've been able to go up there. 2020, win 1-0. Again, 2-0. Then 1-1. And then a 4-2 victory last season with Zian Flemming scoring that hat-trick. So yeah, it looks like, but then you're worried because that's, what is that, 4 games in a row, positive result for Millwall, 3 wins and a draw. Are we due a defeat? Is it time? Can't keep going on a winning streak. It's got to win sometime. But maybe it will extend tomorrow. Maybe it will be another winning streak. Or maybe the game might be called off. The game today, Rotherham United, was called off. There was massive flooding around the Rotherham ground. But I think, isn't Rotherham in a valley? Isn't it in the Don Valley, the River Don? I had a look at the map of Preston. It's not. There is a river that goes through Preston that's in the middle of town. Deepdale is to the north of the town. There's a little river, a little brook that goes alongside, not too close to the ground. Probably about a couple of blocks away. But then next to the ground over the road is a massive park, which obviously they've kept there as a floodplain, in case that brook does overflow. But I think it should be fine. In terms of the local area being flooded, I don't think that's going to have the game called off. Maybe the pitch itself, if it's waterlogged, but again, if it's on Sky, you would think that they would try and get that going ahead. The reason why the Rotherham United Ipswich game got called off today was there was pictures, you could see massive flooding outside the ground of Rotherham, so that's obviously not going to go ahead. So we are on a massive winning streak. Let's have a bit of a look closer to today. Match facts on the right hand side. Preston have conceded at least 3 goals in their last 3 matches. Oh, really? So they like conceding 3 goals as well, just like us. Preston have lost their last 3 matches. Oh, I like the sound of this. There have been over 2.5 goals scored in 5 of Preston's last 6 games. Aha. So if we switch this to home versus away, you can see the last 6 games at Deepdale. Preston have won 1. There have been 2 draws and 3 Millwall wins. We've scored 10 goals. They've scored 6. They've only kept 1 clean sheet against us. That was in 2017. We have kept 3 clean sheets in 2 wins and a 0-0 draw. So, will it be another clean sheet from us, which could help us win, or will we have to shoot out of them and try and win 2-1? Or maybe even more, 3-2. Is that possible now the shackles have come off? I don't know. We will have to wait and see. That's the exciting part, isn't it? You don't know. With Gary out, you knew what you were going to get. That's why it went stale. He couldn't change it up. Same old, same old. He changed it at the end of last season. We went on a winning run. It kind of faded at the end. We managed to scrape in to the last game of the season, needing a win to get into the playoffs. We go 3-1 up, and at half time it just dissipates and disappears to disappointment for everyone around. And then during the summer he starts recruiting players to go back to play the formation that was shit at the start of last season that he had to switch out of to get us on an amazing run to get to the playoffs. How does that make sense? I don't know, but you tell me. So here we go. Oh, before that, let's go up to the table. Overall, Preston are in 3rd. Wow, Preston are in 3rd. Millwall are only in 15th. Look at the form, the colours, the bright colours. Preston haven't won in 4 games. Partly due to them having massive injury problems, namely Ched Evans being missing. There is rumours that he might be back tomorrow. So that could be worrying for us. Is he going to be back firing, or is he going to be back patched up? Yeah. So there you go. They've lost 3 games so far this season, which coincidentally was their last 3 games. Maybe if we beat them, it might be a case of, like before, we could get this manager fired. If he loses 4 games in a row, hey ho, he's got to go. If he loses to Millwall, little old Millwall, maybe he's going to get shown the door. But home form. Only one of those defeats has come at home. They won 4 games at home. They haven't drawn at home. Is that a clue? Could it be a draw tomorrow? I don't know. Who knows? We have to wait and see. We don't know what we're going to get, which is part of the excitement. Now away games. Well, look at that. Millwall's away form is actually pretty good. We only lost once away from home, and that was that abysmal performance at Norwich City, where we lost 3-1. Which is probably the catalyst for Gary Rowett leaving. The chanting from the fans, and the press conference afterwards. We scored 5 goals in 5 games and only conceded 4. You can see if we go down, I've sorted it. So Preston's last 6, was that 6? Yeah, home games. Mill's last 5 away games. You can see we've kept 3 clean sheets in those games. 2-0 win at Plymouth, 0-0 against West Brom, 1-0 win at Middlesbrough. We had the Norwich defeat. Does that say a lot about us or a lot about Norwich? I don't know. Birmingham 1-1. So over those 5 games, we conceded 4 goals, but 3 of them, or 4 goals conceded have been in 2 matches. So which one are we going to get? Can we keep a clean sheet tomorrow? Who knows? Now, Preston North End. You can see they haven't kept a clean sheet in those last 5 games at home. They failed to score in their last game. But in the other games, they've won them 2-1. That's pretty interesting. 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. To Sunderland, to Swansea, to Plymouth, Birmingham. 2-2 against Salford City, which I think they lost on penalties. That was in the whatever it's called now, Carabao Cup. So interesting stuff. They seem to have fallen off. Like I said, because their main striker, Ched Evans, was injured. He may be back. So we might not get the team that lost at 4-0 at home to West Brom. We might get the team that is winning games 2-1. Here's the strengths and weaknesses for each team according to WhoScored.com and the styles that the teams play. Although I wouldn't probably take much account of that because they say Millwall's style is a consistent first 11. Not with all the injuries we have. Match forecast. Preston will steal the ball from the opposition often. Millwall will score from direct free kicks, both very likely. There will be a high number of cards shown, likely. Yeah, I think it is. It might be due to rain tomorrow. Not hard, but I think the pitch will be a bit heavy and a bit boggy. So there is that to consider. What else are we doing? So we're going to move on now to WhoScored.com and their prediction. What did they actually predict after seeing all of that stuff then? Obviously they predict the teams, but that's not really. They think Honeyman's going to come back in. Unless Longman's injured, I think Longman should be coming in because the only reason he didn't play in the last game was he's on loan from Hull. We can't play in it. He's been probably the better of the loan players, to be honest with you. So I think he's going to play. He should play. There's the injury list. So let's get past that. Prediction. Preston scored twice before the hour mark against newly promoted Ipswich last time out, but were unable to claim even a single point from their trip to Portman Road, losing 4-2 to Kieran McKenna's men. The international break came at a good time for the Lily Whites, who remain in 3rd place but have lost 3 consecutive league games. Millwall responded well after their lead was wiped out by a quick-fire Hull double 2 weeks with Joe Bryan's second half goal proving enough to earn a point for the London club. Away form has been a positive for Gary outside this season, with the visitors having lost just 1 of their 5 away fixtures so far in the Championship. And they predict Preston North End 1, Millwall 1. So a draw. They're going to go for Preston's first home draw of the season. Okay. It's got to come sometime, innit? And that means Millwall don't lose. A 1-1. So we're not keeping a clean sheet. It's going to be a draw, according to them. Now, what says David Prutton, SkySports.com? Championship predictions. Guarantee Obviously, we're the first game on Sky of the weekend. Literally, because the Friday night game was called off. I guarantee we're going to be at the top. Are we at the top? Hey! So Preston versus Millwall. Saturday, 12:30 PM, live on Sky Sports Football. Preston fell right off in the last few games, but need to remind themselves that they are right up there and have still had an excellent first quarter of the season. Well, we saw this last season, didn't we? We saw teams like QPR bubbling away at the top, and they just faded away as well. So it's not unusual for this to happen, that teams have a good start to the league and then they just fade away. Is that what's happening here? I must admit, I was a little surprised to see Garrow depart Millwall in midweek, as much due to the timing of it as anything else. Missing out on the playoffs last season was heartbreaking. Fucking tell me about it. But he had done so much good work there to establish them in that position in the top half. It is a big job for the next man, but for now, with no manager, I think this is a Preston win, and he predicts Preston North End 2, Millwall 1. So I think he's been looking at the form and seen that they won all those games 2-1. So he's gone for a 2-1. But that's a bit disrespectful there. But for now, with no manager, what's Adam Barrett then? Chop liver? Oh, Adam Barrett, you're not a manager apparently. You've been in charge of Millwall for 3 games before. You've got a 33.3% win rate. 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. Although in that loss you were 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go and you lost 3-2. But let's forget about that. No manager. Jesus. I think this depends on the players and how they react. This is a big focus on this game. The news of Gary Rowett, obviously big in the football world. A lot of the people around the football world are struggling to figure why he was not sacked, mutually agreed to depart. And I think there's a lot of eyes on this. Although why are they using Kevin Nisbet? Do they not know he's injured, Kevin Nisbet? Like I said, a lot of eyes on this. The players generally up their game up themselves for a game on Sky. Gary Rowett, as a couple of weeks ago, blaming the players for certain things publicly. I'm sure they didn't like that. So we'll see what happens. A lot of people thinking Adam Barrett's just going to carry on what Gary Rowett was doing, not make any changes at all, just carry it on. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he will change it up. He's got the mastermind Kevin Nugent on the bench with him apparently as well. So if he listens to what he says and he implements it, I'm sure that is going to be a great help as well. See, he seems to know what he's doing. Can we keep a clean sheet? Almost certainly. I think we can. Then can we score? Yeah, I think we can. A lot of people that are not putting Longman in the team, I think they forgot about him. We've got Longman, we got Brian, we got Maku, we've got Bradshaw. We do have injuries, but we have attacking players. We've got no Watmore, we've got no Nisbet, but we do have players. I'm going to go for Preston 0, Millwall 3. I think the players are going to respond to this positively, and I think this is I think it's going to be 3-0. I think it's going to be one of those games where if the players are going to feel like the straitjacket's been taken off of them, if that makes any sense, you know what I mean? So we'll see. But you never know. But I'm going to go 3-0 for Millwall. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.